Good morning, everybody. Today we are handling the subject of motivation. And because motivation is a very wide subject, we are going to divide into two parts. The first part today, we are going to cover the early theories of motivation. And then the second part will be covering the contemporary theories of motivation. Learning objectives. After studying the first part of this motivation theory, to be able to describe the three elements of motivation, identify 5 theories of motivation, and evaluate their applicability today. These theories are Maslow's, Aldefas, McGregory, Herzberg, and McClelland. Very interesting. We'll be enjoying this as we go along. What is motivation? Motivation is what we use. The term motivation, we use it all the time. We always talk about motivation, but what is motivation? I mean, if I ask each of you to define what motivation is, I think nobody will fail to define motivation. But for our purposes here, we are going to define motivation as the processes that account for individuals' intensity, direction, and persistence of the effort towards attaining a goal, specifically an organizational goal, because we are doing organizational behavior. And these three elements are intensity, how hard a person tries, direction, the effort that is channeled towards it, and the third one is persistence, how long a person can maintain that effort. So motivation is a process where individual's intensity, direction, and persistence is channeled towards something, namely a goal. So by this definition, if something is not intensive, if something is not directional, if something is not persistent, you don't call that motivation. Once you have something which is intensive, directional, and persistent, you can say that is motivation. If something comes and it has no direction, it is not intensive, there's no persistence, that is not motivation. That is just a feeling. That is just some kind of emotion. It can happen. But motivation must be intensive, must be directional, and must be persistent. Okay, so next time you define motivation, make sure that you emphasize the intensity of the matter, the direction, which is goal setting, and the persistence, because it happens continuously. It's not like today I have some kind of motivation and tomorrow I don't have. This morning I have motivation and in the afternoon I don't have. 1 hour I have motivation, the next hour I don't have. So those are the three elements that constitute motivation by definition. The early theories of motivation are basically 5. We could say 5, although some people say they are 4, but let's look at them. These are theories that are very popular to many management students and OB students. If you have undertaken a management class and you don't remember any of these theories, then you have missed a management class. So these are theories that are very common, and we will never stop talking about them as long as we live. Because these are the people, these are our forefathers who devised these theories. Some of them maybe have been overtaken by events, but they are our forefathers in the thinking. Maslow is one of the oldest grandfathers in the motivation theory. I think he wrote his first book in 1840, The Hierarchy of Needs Theory. I look at each of these in turn. Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory. According to Maslow, there are 5 hierarchy of needs, and each of these is satisfied before the next becomes dominant. And when you cast your eye on the slide, you will see that there are 5. But also you need to know that according to Maslow, individuals cannot move to the next higher level of need until the need at the current level is satisfied. And to use the pyramid illustration, I am going to show you the pyramid, not the original pyramid, but I've been able to put the pyramid together. And here is that Maslow's pyramid, the so-called hierarchy of needs theory. At the very bottom of it, you find the physiological needs. I'm sorry about the typing error there. Physiological needs. I wish I had the opportunity to correct it, but I cannot correct it at this moment. These are physiological needs. These are needs that concern the very basics, what we call basic needs, the very basics, the one we need to survive, survival needs, like food, water, some shelter, clothing. Our forefathers lived without clothing for many years and they didn't die. So clothing is a basic need, but it is not as critical as food and water. Our forefathers also lived under trees for some time. So food and water is very critical. Then the others come in as physiological needs. After that, after the food and water, and so of course shelter and clothing, you need security. So according to Maslow, once you have satisfied the need for food, you have water, you have clothing, you have some shelter, then you can clamor for security. I need security. I need to be safe. I am in danger here. I don't feel secure. I need security. I need to be sure that tomorrow I will still be here. I need to be sure that tomorrow I will be alive. I need to be sure somebody has to assure me that I am safe, So that is the second level of needs according to Maslow. After that is taken care of, there's then we call social needs. Okay, now I am secure. I have food, I have water, I have some security. Now I need friends. I need relatives. I need relations. I need love. Where is friend? Where is love? Now you can clamor for love, social needs, friendship, relationship, friendship, and so on. So you now can clamor for those at the third level. Once all that has been taken care of, your next desire is self-esteem. I need to be considered as a person. I am somebody. I am somebody. Somebody must know that I am also somebody. My self-esteem has to be taken care of. People should recognize that I am also somebody. So if at your workplace, people don't recognize you as a somebody, at this level, you will be demotivated if nobody cares about you and nobody cares about your esteem. I am also somebody here. Can I be recognized? Can somebody call me by name? Can somebody appreciate me? Can somebody recognize me? That is now self-esteem. That need is clamored for once the first three are taken care of. Now, after that self-esteem issues have been taken care of, the last one, according to Maslow, top of the hierarchy, is self-actualization. Now, I have reached the top of the pyramid. Now I am a somebody. Now I am, self-actualization. This is where I needed to reach. Maybe this is where God has intended me to reach. I have reached the top of the sky. I am fulfilled. I am fulfilled. I am contented. I am satisfied. I am everything I need to be. I can never get better. Those are the hierarchies that Maslow's theorized about. That if you want to take care of your staff at work, you must make sure that their needs are taken care of in that order. So after Maslow, we now look at Aldefer. Aldefer theorized about three factors, or what we call core needs. And some people think that this was an attempt to theorize or an attempt to prove Maslow's hierarchy of needs in empirical research. And so, they said that Maslow's 5 levels of hierarchy are actually collapsed into 3. And those needs are, according to Aldefer, are existence, which is physiological, the food, the water, the shelter and the dress, the clothing, physiological and safety. Those are collapsed together to form what we call existence. According to Aldefer, safety is part of the basic things you need to exist. So those are taken care of under existence needs. After that, then you need what we call the relatedness. Under Maslow, this is called social and status needs. I need to be recognized as a member of society, member of the community, member of the family, member of the organization. I need social relations. I need friends. I need love. So that's relatedness. And the third set of needs, according to Aldefer, are growth needs. According to Maslow, these are the esteem and the self-actualization needs. Growth. That's where you kind of get to the top. You get to your destiny, like we normally say. I have got to the top of my destiny. This is what God wanted me to be. I am there. So, according to research, they say that this removes the hierarchical assumption and that motivation can be achieved by all the three at once, according to the research by Aldefer. And so they say that you don't have to go through the hierarchy. you can actually have all the three of them motivating you at once. This is very popular theory, but there are other research also say that it's not very accurate theory. But it communicates. It communicates significantly, and we should never ignore them because those are very important. When you flash back really in your own experience, you will know, you definitely know that you need this. You need existence. At the beginning, when you're starting to work, that is your major preoccupation. Can I survive? We call it survival here. Can I survive? Once you have started surviving, then you can think about relatedness. And after you've achieved relatedness, then you can think about where do I go from here? The other theory, which may be very popular indeed, is the McGregor's theory X and theory Y. Some people just call it theory X and theory Y because they may not remember the name of the author. McGregor's theory X and theory Y. So these theories, these are two distinctive views about human beings. The theory X is basically negative, and the theory Y is basically positive. And so when managers have a set of assumptions about human beings, and these assumptions are molded their behavior towards employees. So, according to McGregor, those who have particular assumptions about their workers will treat them like their assumptions presuppose. So the theory X workers are those workers, they claim, who have little ambition, who dislike work, who avoid responsibility. So once you assume that your workers don't have ambition, they dislike work, they avoid responsibility, they will do everything. If they can eat, if they can drink, if they can survive without work, then they will do so. So under this theory, if you assume that your workers are of that type, then you will also treat them in a similar manner, because then you will not respect them. You will order them to like work. You'll order them to work. You order them to take responsibility. You will not. They will need strict supervision. You will have to stand there. Otherwise, if you don't stand there, they will not work. They will not do anything. So a manager who assumes his workers belong to theory X will be very strict with his workers and will not leave the office until the end of the day, because without him, he assumes his workers will not work. Now, theory Y is a little bit advanced, and it is the opposite of theory X. Theory Y assumptions about work assumes that workers are self-directed, they enjoy work, and they accept responsibility. So in that instance, then workers don't have to be policed. Workers don't have to be policed. They can be assigned work, and then you can go away. Then when you come back, you can find that the assignment has been completed. Because they enjoy work, they accept responsibility, and if work is not there, they will feel cheated, they'll feel uncomfortable. So those are the two theories, theory X and the theory Y. The third set of theories, the early theories, is what we call the Herzberg two-factor theory. Once again, people will forget Herzberg, but they will remember two-factor theory. The key points in this theory are satisfaction and dissatisfaction. They say that these are opposites. These are not opposites, but they are totally separate constructs. Ordinarily, when you say satisfaction, you expect the opposite to be dissatisfaction. But according to Herzberg's research, he discovered that satisfaction and dissatisfaction are not opposites. They are totally separate constructs. Why? Because in his research, he discovered that satisfaction is brought about by different factors and dissatisfaction are brought about by totally different factors. And he says that there are extrinsic factors outside the job, outside the individual, if they are not present, they bring dissatisfaction. Like work conditions, like salary. If the work conditions is bad, if the salary is low, if the company policies are too stringent, very unfriendly, workers will be dissatisfied. He calls them extrinsic motivation because those motivations are outside the individual. Working conditions are outside the individual. Salary is not an internal matter of the individual. Company policies are, so those are all environmental matters. So they are extrinsic. He calls them hygiene factors, factors surrounding the worker. So once those factors are not conducive, people will be dissatisfied. And the factors that really bring satisfaction are called intrinsic factors. Factors within the individual, namely achievement, responsibility, growth, and so on. This he calls motivators. So the two-factor theory is basically about what are things that motivate. He calls them motivators, and they are basically intrinsic. Achieved. I have achieved. In my work, I am given opportunity to achieve. In my work, I am given responsibility. In my work, I am allowed to grow. In my work, I am in control. So those things motivate people. Once you're allowed, given opportunity to achieve, given responsibility to take care of your work, given opportunity to grow, you say, yes, I am motivated. So Herzberg call it motivators, and they are intrinsic. So these are factors that bring satisfaction. And the other factors that are external bring dissatisfaction. So you would expect, according to this research, that if the job does not give you achievement, the job does not give you responsibility, the job does not give you opportunity to grow, then that job will give you dissatisfaction. In his research, he found that actually it is not these other factors, the intrinsic factors, when absent, that you become dissatisfied. They are totally different factors that bring about dissatisfaction. That's why he concluded that there are two factors in motivation: the intrinsic ones, called motivators, and the extrinsic ones, called hygiene factors. That was his research. Very interesting research. I think he did it in the 1950s or so. Very interesting research. But of course, there are criticism to that two-factor theory. So the criticism is that Herzberg says that hygiene factors must be met to remove dissatisfaction. If motivators are given, then satisfaction can occur. But the criticism is here that Hasbach is limited by his procedure, that the participants had self-serving bias, that reliability of raters were questioned, and that there were bias and errors of observation. And also that no overall measure of satisfaction was used. So these are the criticisms to Hasbach. But come what may, at least Hasbach has contributed something to the thinking, to the motivation theory. At least for you, even now as a student, you know that there are two factors, that they are what we call extrinsic factors, if you have never heard about them, but there are also factors we call intrinsic, if you have never heard about them. And that the intrinsic ones are related to satisfaction at work, and the extrinsic one, if they are not there, cause dissatisfaction. At least that is a contribution. You should be proud that Hasbach was able to make a contribution. Okay. The fourth early theories of motivation was theorized by McClelland. We call it McClelland's three needs theory. This is also a very interesting theory. The three are the need for achievement, the need for power, and the need for affiliation. Those are needs, according to McClelland. Those are serious needs. I mean, I like these theories because they relate with some of our experiences. They relate to some of our experiences, and it's true, because if you observe the circumstances surrounding us, you might actually find that people who succeed are people who have need for achievement. If you are lazy and you never try anything, and never have any target, and never have anything to work for or to die for, you are definitely not going to go anywhere. So first, according to McClelland, you must have a need to achieve, need for achievement. This is a drive. You must have a drive to excel. You must have a drive to achieve in relation to a set of standards. You must have a drive to succeed. Without that, you might stay where you are, and you might remain poor and poor and poor. You will never get anywhere. I mean, even students, they must have the need to achieve. Otherwise, you will never even do your coursework. Why would you suffer doing coursework? Why would you suffer trying to log in the online platform? You tried 2 times, 3 times, you're not going through. And why would you bother? You must have a need to achieve. And that is a motivational factor, according to McClelland. And then there's what we call need for power. Need for power. Well, I am not one of those who is motivated by need for power, but there are many people who are motivated by need for power. And since this is a research in the context of organization, the leaders in organization may be motivated by need for power. I sometimes question why a student would want to become the president and go all the way, suffer running around all over hostels and campuses and trying to solicit for votes. But people are motivated differently. There are those who are motivated by need for power. Without it, they may not be comfortable because their calling is different. So need for power is a motivator because you need to be in charge. You desire to be in charge. And so your desire to be in charge will motivate you to desire to have power. And therefore, you should be able to do everything because of that motivation. And then there's, according to McClelland, the third one is the need for affiliation. The desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationships. So if you look at this theory, you can associate this again with Maslow somewhere, and then the one for the second theory we've just seen. There is an element there of the Ig theory. There is an element of affiliation there, the desire for friendly and close interpersonal relationships. This is a very good need, that if you have a need for affiliation, you'll do everything to achieve that need. So even when we are studying personality, you'll find that there are people who cannot work alone. They want to work where there are other people. They want friends around them. They work best where there is noise around them. So such kind of people have a very strong need for affiliation. If they are kept alone in an island, they would be very uncomfortable. They would not like to work because they need affiliation. So McClelland helps us to understand that what motivates people can be categorized into three. Need for achievement is very fundamental. Need for power, which may not be for everybody, but you can see what's going around us in these presidential elections. Even in the parliamentary elections, you saw what happened. For those Ugandans who have been watching TV and seeing what's going on around us, the need for power is strong and it can motivate beyond. And the need for affiliation is a very quiet but very strong in many people. So there has been some research on this need for achievement of McClelland, and it's found that people with high need for achievement are likely to prefer to undertake activities with a 50-50 chance of success. They avoid very low or very high risk situations. So research has been done on this need for achievement, and they have found that need for achievement must be moderate. I mean, you don't want to go for very risky ventures, extremely risky ventures. You will fail, and if you fail, you'll be terribly demotivated. And you also don't want to go for very low. You don't want to target too low. That one, if you achieve it, it will not bring you satisfaction. So research shows that those with the need for achievement target at least situations where there are 50-50% chance of success. If you know that if you work hard, you're going to get an upper second, you do it. If you know that if you work very hard, you'll get a first class, you will go for it. But the chances are there. If you target first class and you get a second upper second, that is also good enough for you as a student. But if you target pass, you might actually even miss a pass degree because your achievement level is too low. I don't want you to be motivated by such a very low level of achievement. Please achieve high, and if you miss the highest target, you will not miss second highest. So that is a research that was done, particularly on need for achievement. As we come to the close, we need to know, are these theories applied all over? Where are they applied? Motivation theories are often culture-bound. Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory is not, reminds us also that order of needs is not universal. In Africa, definitely, we probably have this hierarchy, more or less, not more or less. We can identify with them because of the level of our development, but it's not universal. I mean, as time goes on, as people develop, those hierarchies may not be the same. McClelland's three needs theory, there was a research on need for achievement, which presupposes a willingness to accept risk and performance concern. These are also not universal traits. They are very important. The other theories that we are going to look at later are Adams' equity theory and then we'll also be looking at the goal-setting theory. In our next class, we shall be looking at the reinforcement theory. We shall be looking at the equity theory and expectancy theory. But so far, so good. I'm glad we have been able to move with me in these early theories of motivation. I'm happy that I've been able to take you through it. Our next opportunity will be to look at the contemporary theories, as I have mentioned, goal setting, reinforcement, equity theory, expectancy theory. Wish you all the best. There will be a question on this topic already on the dashboard. You go there and do it. God bless you. Thanks so much.